जरा मुझ
Right. So today we are going to see one of the topic, chaining. So in the Postman also we have seen the same concept for Go REST API. So we have seen Go REST API, right? So same API we are going to see chaining in REST assured. Okay. So what is the chaining process? Suppose when you send a request, so we'll get some response, and from that response we extract some data and we will use as part of the request to the another request. Like a response from one request becomes a request for another request. So for example, when I create a user, right? So when I create a user, which will automatically generate an ID. So based on that ID, we can try to display the user's data, and also we will try to delete the user. We will try to do update. We will try to update the user. So let's say Go REST API, and which is first when I say create request. So this will create an ID, and this ID we will use for get user and update user and then delete user. Okay, so this is basically called as a chaining. And not only these three APIs, if we have any other APIs, we can use this data as an input. So each and every request is interlinked. Okay, so let us try to implement this in the REST assured. And here we use something called testng feature, testng XML file. So normally when you run your test cases in testng, we will run through XML file, right? So here XML file will play very, very important role. Not only ID, so if you have any other data, so that can be also used. So here I'm just giving some example with ID. Suppose if this request is sending some other response, suppose let's say email ID or first name or last name, and even that data also we can use in another request. Okay, so if you know at least one, how we can do for one variable, so rest of them you can easily do it because same process, no change, right? Only the data will be changed. So the process is same. So how we can get the data from this request and how we can use the data for another request. So that is a concept of chaining. Okay, you can use single field or multiple fields, but most of the times we have some common thing that is called ID. So many APIs normally create an ID, or we can say order ID or user ID or customer ID. So many times ID will become the common thing for all the requests. So that's the reason I'm taking this example. But if you have any other type of data also, we can still do it chaining process. Okay. All right. So now let's see how we can achieve this in the REST assured. So let's go to the Postman. So in the Postman also we have seen the chaining process, right? Let me open my Postman. And here we are using Go REST API. In the Go REST API, if we want to use it, we should create a token, right? So we need to have a token. Let me just go to Go REST chaining. These are the 4 type of requests we have created: create user, get user details, update user, and then delete user. So when you're creating the user, so we have to create a email ID, user email and username. So these things we have to create randomly. Like email address also we can create randomly because same data is not allowed every time when you create a new user. So in every round of execution, so we have to create a data dynamically. So that is one scenario we are going to see. And it is generated some ID. So from the response, we will capture the ID and we will pass the same ID in the other request. So in the Postman, we have a concept of variables, like environment variables, collection variables. So we will able to do that because we can set environment variables at the runtime on the fly and we can use it in another request. But in the REST assured, we don't have such type of concept. So we have to use a feature from testng. There is one feature in the testng. So by taking the help of that feature, we will able to achieve this. Okay. So now we'll see how we can do this. So to use these APIs, we need a token. So if I just go to create user, right? So we need a token, get user, update user, so delete users, all these things we need some token. So because the token is a commonly required, so I have created the token at the collection level. If I just go to the collection level authorization, bearer token authentication is required for this. This is the token ID, bearer token ID. So if you want to get this authentication token, so you have to first go to this GoRest API site, and there we have to sign up and get the token number. Say GoRest API. So this is their official website, right? If you just try to sign up first time, okay, it will go to, you can just click on the link, get your access token. So it will ask you like Facebook login or Gmail login or GitHub login, provide your details, and then it will generate the token. So earlier also I have shown you how we can do this along with the screenshot document also I have shared during the Postman session. So please go to the document, you will know exactly how to create the token for these APIs. So whatever token I have created that time, so same token still it will work. So I'm just trying to use the same token number. Okay, so there are 4 different type of requests I'm going to automate. So create user, and then display the user information, and update, and then delete the users. And authorization is what? The authorization is token authentication, bearer token authentication. So the sequence also we will compare, okay? We will manage the sequence. So sequence should be like, because until unless you create a user, you can't update and you can't delete the same user, right? So the sequence also we have to maintain. Okay, so I'll show you how to maintain the sequence also, because this time we are using test-ng. So in the test-ng, we can specify the sequence in which order you want to execute them. One way is we can specify the priorities, right? So if we have all the tests, all 4 tests in one single class, we can specify the priority. Suppose if I create multiple classes, let's say create request is one class, right? Update request is another class, delete request is another class. If I write multiple classes, then how we can manage the order of execution? So that can be done through XML file. Okay, so all these scenarios we will see now practically one by one. So what I can do is go to rest assured. Okay, go to Eclipse, and okay, same whatever we have done in the Postman. So same URLs I'm going to take, and same test data and same token I'm going to use in a rest assured. So only the difference is here we do chaining process in the different approach, because we don't have a variables concept in rest assured. Okay, so we will take the help of test-ng, and then we will able to achieve it. Okay, so let's go to rest assured and create new package for today. So day 8. Okay, so this time there are multiple ways we can do it. So let me show you the approach 1. So for example, let us create one single class. Let's say I have one single class. Okay, one single class. I can create multiple methods, right? So one method is, let's say create user, right? And get user, and update user, and delete user. If I create all methods in the single class, so then what we can do is we can manage one common variable. So we can create ID variable at the class level. And this ID we can create by using create method. We can get the user details by using the same ID. We can update the details by using the same ID. We can delete the user by using the same ID. So this is the direct process. So here we don't have any other concept test-ng, not at all required. And if we manage the order, we can just specify the priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, and so on. Priorities we can add. So this variable become the common variable across multiple methods. So this variable we can update. Okay, we can create the value of this ID by using create method. Okay, we can get the details by using this ID. We can update the details by using this ID. We can also delete the user by using this ID. So we can achieve this very easily, because we have all methods in the single class, no issues at all. But suppose I have created one method or one test in the one class. This is the class 1. In the class 2, I created get user details. Class 3, I created update user. Class 4, I created delete user. Okay, so then I can't maintain the common variable across these 4 classes. So if you want to common variable, if you want to create variable create, it is not possible here. So this is a different approach we have to follow now. So we don't follow this approach, because it is a direct process. So if you have 4 methods in single class, we can create ID directly and we can use it in every test method. So everyone can easily do it. So here we don't need any new concept. This is everyone knows concept. But if you have these methods in the different classes, right? So then how we can take the ID from this test and how we can pass it here, how we can pass in another request or another test. So this is the main concept we need to understand. So in this case, how we can manage the order of execution, and how to manage the variables, because ID should be there for all the requests. ID will be generated from the first request that should be required for rest of the request. So how we can manage that ID. So this is the main scenario which we need to understand. And the first one is, this is straightforward, everyone can do it. We can write all 4 methods with single class. We can create a variable and we can use it in every request. But this is something new. Here the chaining should happen. So let us see how we can do this approach. Clear this. Okay. So the first thing, I will create multiple requests. Like for create user, I will create one class. For updating user, I'll create another class, and so on. So for